What's up, playmates? Welcome to Ford's Playground. I know it's been a minute. So glad to see you guys here again. Let me get that reverb off my voice there. Look at this. We got a nice little crowd in here already with very, very little notice. Well, today we're going to start talking about balance. We're going to get right into it. The Zen of balance, the non-dualism of balance, which is in itself a paradox if you think about it. And yeah, we're going to get into that. How do you have balance? How do you have control over anything at all, and without having free will? What exactly is free will? What do you have free will over? So we're going to get into all that stuff today. So stick with me. Here we go. All right. Oops, wrong camera. Oops. Awesome. You guys ready to get into balance? I figured after the last episode that I've done, it was a couple weeks ago, I did an episode on the election, which intentionally was designed to trigger everybody. So non-dualism is to kind of sit on the edge of reality and recognizing what is real and what is not real. And last week we kind of dove in to heal some of those wounds, some of the wounds of the people who are still clinging to their attachments to the left or the right, or to good or evil, or any of the things, past or future. All that clinging, you have to let go of all that clinging. And only then can you have your true free will, which is the will and power that you have over your own psyche and your focus and your attention. And where you place that is how you drive your ship into this matrix. You know, we're always trying to think about the matrix as in we want to escape the matrix, right? But is that really what we want to do? Is it really about escaping the matrix? We're here to play the game. It's a game. It's all about playing the game. It's all about finding that balance. And the reason you want to escape is because you don't like what the matrix is presenting to you, which is a mirrored reflection of who you've become. So with a little bit of focus, a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of self-awareness, we can drive our ship wherever we want, however we want. And if we drive it with love and integrity, we can manifest an amazing life for ourselves right here, right now. Right? Doesn't have to be anywhere else. It doesn't require steps. It doesn't require saying mantras. It doesn't require a trip to India. It's just about learning how to navigate and pilot your ship. That's it. And the way we do that is through shifting identity. That's the way we do it. That's the mechanism. So if I start to identify with a person who is in the dream, who has these attachments, maybe we're fussing with somebody at work, maybe we're still upset over the election, maybe we're unsure about World War III seems to be approaching, right? It's because we're getting really attached to our character playing in the dream. So what I'm telling you to do is to change your sense of identity. Let go of the being that you think that you are, the one that's all wrapped up in the story of you, and just take a step back from that story. I know for most of you that doesn't make any sense to you, but with repetition, it will start to unravel and show you the truth of your true being, which is the person behind the mask. It's not the person who is looking at yourself in the mirror. It's the one behind that. So when you shift your identity from the human being playing your story into the identification of the all, the eternal now, the eternal present moment, this moment that has no past, it has no future, it just is. And it's a miracle. When we shift that identity from the human being to the soul, let's call it the soul for all practical understanding, then we are able to navigate how we perceive things and how we react to things. You know, Sadhguru had a very good way of saying, I had the privilege of meeting him years ago. And one of the most profound things he said in all of his retreats that I went to was, enlightenment is the ability to respond. That's it. It's the ability to respond. Ordinarily, we react to reality. We're constantly in reaction mode. Something happens, we react. We react, we protect. Instead, just observe and respond. Observe the situation from the human perspective, and then take a step inward. Free yourself of the mask of you, and observe the situation as you. Because you're the whole thing. Remember, the whole entire perception of this dream is you. And it's projected, the light is projected through the lens of the shadow self, which is only looking for the flaws in reality. That's the only thing it knows how to look for. Which has all these things to do with self-worth. It's really about self-worth and cleansing that shadow and integrating these parts of ourself that we don't like in with the parts of the self that we do like. And we get rid of the things that don't serve us, and we include the things that do help us and elevate us and help us to become a more integral, loving being. You guys with me so far? So what I'm talking about is this. It's the yin-yang. It's balance. And it's to realize that you are not the black or the white. You're the one that observes the entire thing. That's who you are. You're all of it. You're not the human being in the dream. You are the dream. That's who you are. You are the dream itself. And when you can take that step inward and identify with the dream and see all of these protagonists as these shadow representations of your own self. I should say the protagonist and the antagonist, right? Depends on your situation. But to start to see the dream as these shadow reflections of your own being, then you can address it with laughter and with gratitude and just with ease, grace. Because it doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's just a game. And it's the attachments that make it not feel like a game. Your joy is all that matters. And if you can develop yourself into a more integral being, a more loving being, a more compassionate being, then you're able to increase that joy. And you do that through navigating your sense of being by shifting your identity and opening your heart, which sounds so cheesy. I totally get it. But when you open your heart and you let all that energy out, that's like the fuel creating the dream itself. If you feel like you're stuck, it's because you're not being compassionate enough. You got to kickstart that engine a little bit and get it going. So who are you really if you're not the dream? You're not the human being. You're both of them. Who are you really? We've talked about this many times on this show about who the human being is. We break it all down, right? I'm not the body. I'm not the body. That's not who I am, right? Who am I? It's the most important, profound question that anyone can ask themselves. I'm not the body. I'm not the cells of the body. Is that who I am? Am I the cells? Well, which cell am I? Because the body is made up of trillions of cells. Am I the atoms of the body? I don't know. Atoms have electrons too. Are my electron? Is that what I am? Let me just go deeper and deeper and deeper until we come to the nothingness. We come to this. We break it all down to that. Is that who I am? Yes. That's who I am. It's what I am. I'm the whole thing. And in that space is timeless. There is no space at all. It's just this beingness. It's the sense of awareness of the dream as it is, with no expectation of change except to know that it is going to change, and no attachment to what has been, and no attachment to what will be. Just watching it unfold, watching it dance. Sometimes it's a little scary. Oh my God, we're going to go to war. What's happening? It's very terrifying. Is a miracle going to happen? Is AI going to save us? Is UFOs going to save us? And all these little creations that we create in the dream as mechanisms to cope with the fear. Because that's what your entire life is. It's just these little strings of thoughts. And then you have a thought, and then you wake up in the thought. And then you have another thought, and then you wake up in that thought. But the thoughts start out very, very simple. And as they increase in complexity, you begin to identify with the thought. Before you know it, you wake up in that thought with those ideals, with those expectations. But that's not who you are. You can be that person. You can completely surrender to be that person. I should say, attach yourself to be that person. But you can also completely surrender to be the dream itself. Completely let go. And be the entirety of it. Get your popcorn out and watch it like a movie. And through being compassionate, we drive the movie to places that are more fulfilling. And when we do things that are selfish, we drive the dream into places that are less forgiving, let's just say. Because it's a mirror image. It's a mirror image of who you've become. It's like this projected thing of you. If you don't think that you're a very caring and a compassionate person, then you're not going, that's all going to be stored into the shadow, and your expectation of what you're going to receive on the outside is no one being compassionate with you. No one being there for you. So do things to be compassionate, to increase your sense of self-worth, of knowing that you are a loving and amazing person. And what happens? That gets imprinted onto your shadow and projected onto the screen that you call your life. And suddenly people are having compassion for you. And the world just becomes better and more loving and more integral because it's a mirror of you. That's what you have control over. That's the free will that you have. That's the yoke, if you will, of your being. Who am I? Am I the one in the dream reacting? Or am I the one sitting on the edge of the hot tub who realizes the whole thing is me? The whole thing is a gas. It's just me having fun with myself. Incidentally, to be centered, we can sit here and be centered, and we can dangle our legs into the hot tub and realize that the whole dream is one. And that every person I meet is just a reflection of who I become. It's all it can be. This isn't to say they don't have their own autonomy. They do. It's just that your perception of them is a reflection of who you've become. But when we're sitting here on the edge of the hot tub, recognizing the dream below us, and we're identified with this, the infinitude of possibility, the dream world, if you will, and we make a conscious decision to dive into the person and feel things, we recognize that that is not us, nor is this us. And yet, it is both of us at the same time. It's like you have a body on the outside, but you also have a mind on the inside. There isn't one without the other. They're codependent on each other. It's just which way are you going to lean? You're going to lean more into the experience, or you're going to lean more into the gnosis of what the truth is. And when we're centered, when we finally found that center, we're able to release ourselves from the human experience and sit as the eternal dreamer. Recognize too that this is not the true you of who you are. It's very, very, very close. It's like sitting on the edge of that yin yang, right? You're dangling your legs from the white, and your legs are dangling into the black, right? Of the infinite nothingness. Okay. But even that is not the true you. It's the inverse of who you are. The true you is behind all of that. So to escape the matrix is to just recognize that. It's just to recognize it. It's not a permanent thing. It's like exiting a game. I mean, you can if you want to. Or you can play the game and get better at it and work on yourself. And then you'll realize that the game is completely fun and hysterical and is filled with joy. So why would you want to leave it? So that's what I'm here to say to you today. Just master it. Little bits at a time. Little bit of awareness at a time. You start getting stressed out. Just take that big breath, that big, okay, all right, this is how the game's going to play today. All right. Let me see how much love I can throw into this situation. Let me make it weird and obnoxious. And you're going to find that it totally changes. The whole situation just turns itself around. Instantly. Instantly. Treat every encounter like a test. Try that for a while. Another thing that we kind of mistakenly think is we think that, okay, there's this space here, this infinite, and we're all just souls kind of floating around into that area there. Like that's who we are. And yes, that's a sense of who we are. Let's just call that a level. Call that the level of the astral world, right? The Akasha field, if you will. But that's not who we are either. That's like an archetype of being. Who you are is all of it. You're all of it. You're all souls. Every soul. It's all you. There's only you. Forever. There's only you forever. And that realization is terrifying. So you float down, and in your terror, you create a terrestrial plane, which is a thought. And upon the thought of that terrestrial floor, that place that is holding you in grace, we make complexity to our thought. And more complexity, and more complexity, and more complexity. Until before you know it, there's this whole scene unfolding before your eyes. And this whole scene is pointing back to the place you just fell from. It's like this eternal feedback loop of reminding who you are. Unless you choose not to look at it, and that is a choice. You can choose to focus on something else, you know? It's totally fine too. Give them bread and circus. I see all the people getting all excited about football, right? Ignorance is bliss. It's a bliss unto itself. Because to get to the place that I'm talking about takes a little bit of effort. It takes a little bit of mental challenge. It takes a little bit of perseverance. And willpower. True willpower. And that willpower comes from self-worth. Do you see how it builds? All these things build upon your character, which brings security. And the security is freedom and sovereignty. And then there's just new challenges. Challenges of being heard. Challenges of purpose and meaning. You guys having fun? I haven't been here for a while. Sorry, guys. I took a couple weeks off. You know, I've just been kind of playing with YouTube a little bit to see how lazy I could be with it and still make it work. Because I do this for fun. I'm not really trying to... there was no intention here to like make this a massive channel. I just was wanting to share some of my thoughts about all this stuff, especially since I was kind of creating Awakened People with the music on Phi Tribe. So I wanted to create a channel for people to land on and experience what the lucid dreaming is pointing to. And once you get a sense of that, of where it's pointing to, it's sort of just a place to land, because lucid dreaming without knowing any of the background gnosis behind it can be terrifying in itself. So that's what this is about. So anyway, I took a couple weeks off, and I'm just trying to see, you know, I'm not trying to turn this into a weekly thing. I would, you know, the hardest part for me is coming up with the thing to talk about. So it'd be really helpful if you guys drop comments and ask me what you want to hear about most about. I don't want to repeat myself. What's the point in that? Did everybody have a nice Thanksgiving? Nice holidays? Yes? Lots of hearts? So are you guys with this yin yang and why everything breaks down to this? This is the full reduction of who you are. You can use philosophy and science to the ends of earth, and that's where it's going to bring you. Everything comes from that. Everything springs forth from the complexity of that. That's the ground base, I guess you should say, of the mind. The mind with the infinite imagination. And in the infinite imagination is where you live. You don't live on earth. You live in the imagination. I mean it figuratively and literally. Because your entire experience is experienced in the mind. All of it. And we make assumptions that we have a body, and we make assumptions this body lives in a world, and we make assumptions that this world is the earth, but all of it is just imagination. Imagination constantly unfolding into complexity. And it springs forth through this. It can't be reduced any more than that. Because you can't have something without nothing. You can't have nothing without something. You have to have something to perceive nothing, otherwise it isn't nothing. And if you could see the fractal nature of this in your entire experience, because that's what reality is, it's that mechanism fractaled out in complexity, creating the entire world in which you live. If you replace the idea of electrons with that, you'd have a great sense of where you live. Gee, I think some scientists already did that. Oh, there it is. Oh, imagine that. That's an actual picture of electrons and quantum entanglement. Interesting, huh? looks just like the thing I'm pointing to. Literally. Because the entire world, all of reality, even this, is built off of this. And there's a picture of it in real life. Real life. It's kind of funny, isn't it? What is real life? When it's just a dream within a dream within a dream forever, what does that even mean? What is real? What is life? I'm here to say that what I'm talking about and what I've been pointing to is removing linear time completely out of the equation. If you're going to go down and play human, then there's linear time, and it's going to be very, very real for you. But by just taking one step backwards into yourself to reveal that the entire thing is you, including space and including time, that's a very different perspective of the situation, isn't it? And through that ability to just balance back and forth, we can respond to the situation rather than react. We can respond with integrity. We can respond with wisdom. We can respond with love. And most importantly, respond with compassion. Or respond with ferocious death, if that's what's required. Meek. The meek shall inherit the earth. It's all about getting that different point of view. The entire dream changes by your point of view. The entire dream. This is who you are. This is what you are. That's what you are. And it's to realize that both things are true at the same time. You can be awake and you can't say that, oh, well, nothing's real, nothing exists. Because from the human perspective, it's going to be very real and it's going to be very existing, right? But it's also true that it doesn't exist. In fact, it only exists when you're giving it attention. When you don't give it your attention, it will magically fade away from your life. The situation will magically solve itself. Like magic. But it's all about maintaining your internal composure. That composure, that stoic sense of knowing who and what you are. Why is that important? Because that vibration is influencing the shadow, which is being projected onto the reality of which you're perceiving. You're controlling the whole thing. The whole thing. It's an eternal dream that is just giving you what you want. Forever. And it's giving it to you because you are the one. And you can have anything that you want. Anything. But through limited belief in yourself, the reality before your eyes is what you think you can create for yourself. You think that that's all there is. because you haven't learned how to dream. I bet if I asked you right now what you wanted, you wouldn't have an answer for me. You'd have to think about it. Ask yourself that question. What is it that you want? What is it? You figure that out and you move directly towards it. You just do it. You go right towards it. That's self-worth. And if there's a but in there, that's another blockade of self-worth. So you want to be as compassionate as you possibly can, because let's just say that's the most points in the game. But you also have to take some of your power inward to move towards the goal of what it is that you want. And I could tell you the thing that you want is the thing that fills you up. It's the thing that lights you up. That's the thing that you want. And most of the things that we think we want are really stepping stones to that thing. As in, I wish I was a millionaire so I could just paint all day. Or I wish I was a millionaire so I could just bake all day. Then just paint all day. Just bake all day. Just move towards the thing that you want, whatever it is. And when the buts come up, you go, oh, okay, this is a challenge. How am I gonna deal with this? Am I gonna take out the sword? Or am I gonna take out the love machine and smooth it out with compassion? But either way, you're moving towards it. You're going through that barrier. That's willpower. It's true willpower. And some of you might go, well, if it's all just a dream, then why am I here? Why can't I just check out? That's possible too. If you want to check out, you can totally do that. You can move to an ashram somewhere and check out. You can meditate. I'm sure they'll take you in. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's probably where we're all going to go at some point. But we opted in to play this game. And I'm saying to step into your power and have fun with it. You can do it. I used to be the doubting Thomas too for the longest time. For the longest time. And now I know. Now I know. I see the truth. I know. It's all true. All of it. And I'm here to say to you that it's the truth. You guys are awesome. Got a nice crowd in here. So good to see everybody tonight. Yes. So you guys getting this? Right? Step into your power because you deserve it. You are the one. It's a playground. You're here to play and have a good time. And grow. Grow. Because then you get to even have a better time. Work on all the stuff that prevents you from having a good time. And most of the time, those things are all imaginary and all live in your mind. They live either in the future or the past, neither of which really exist or ever existed, because it's just this eternal dream unfolding to however you expect it to unfold. And there's no limitation to how it unfolds. The only limitation is the limitation you put on it. And if that sounds mean or harsh, like, oh, I've been trying to manifest what I want and it's still not happening, and I'm here to say that you're just not doing it hard enough, you're just not doing it hard enough. Because it works. It really does work. You have to get a hold of your mind. You have to step up and grab a hold of your mind, because the entire world is taking your mind and it's twisting it, right? It's trying to make you hurt over here and have anxiety over here and concerns over here and this thing's over here. And there's so many things pulling on this imaginary identity that you have, all thoughts created by you, that you don't know which ones to lag onto anymore. And it's distorted the entire picture for you. So settle into it. Just watch the waves crashing on the shore of what reality is and what life is. And the wave crashes in. If there's something you can do to it to make it more, then do that. But if it's just going to crash in, just watch it crash in. Taking control of your life, a lot of it, that's going to happen. When you start really taking control of your life, a lot of your things in your life are going to crumble away. These are boundaries that you've created. And the more you start to see that what I'm saying to you is the truth, the more confidence you're going to have to take things even further. And when you take things further, boundaries that you've set up for yourself are going to start to crumble away. It's probably already happening for you if you're listening to this podcast. We can look at government crumbling away in many ways, right? That's a metaphoric reflection of boundaries that we've created to hold us in this dream. It's a sense of, it's kind of like a greater mommy and daddy kind of vibe outside of our mommy and daddy that hold us in this dream. Give us a sense of what's real, right? Because without that boundary, holy crap, right? It's a little scary, isn't it? So if you take time to really look at it, what I'm saying is all those boundaries can be taken away. Even if it's just for a minute. And you can recognize the truth of your being as the dreamer. And as the dreamer, it might seem frustrating because you recognize that you're the dreamer. And you might get frustrated as to why your life is so miserable, or why these unfortunate things keep happening to you. And what this whole thing tonight is about is pointing to that it's all coming from you. So if you can get right in your mind and your heart with forgiveness, all those arguments that you replay every single day, those arguments with whoever, just let them win. Here's an idea. Have an argument in your mind and just let them win. Then what? You'll find that it doesn't affect you at all. At all. Except it brings you peace because you're not having that argument in your mind anymore. Do that with all of your arguments. They're not worth your peace. The peace is what you're after. And you think by winning the argument, it's going to bring you closer to peace. And what I'm saying is, just let the arguments go and settle into peace. And you take that idea that I'm pointing to and you apply it to everything in your life that's creating boundaries to limitlessness. Because all the boundaries are imaginary. All of the boundaries are walls of belief. And it's belief that you put there to hold you. The beliefs themselves are the bricks to which you terraformed your dream to hold you. Oh man, sorry, wrong camera. It's okay, you could have been meditating on what is true and what isn't. Are you guys getting this? You guys getting it? Cool? Cool? Awesome. Well, it'll be a short one tonight. And the last thing, you know, some of you might think, well, Ford, if there's no one else, if no one exists, then why are you doing this? Who are you teaching? And the answer is, I'm teaching nobody. I'm teaching myself. Because when we teach these things, it's how we truly, truly digest it and know it for ourselves. I'm not doing it for anything out there. I'm doing it all for what's in here. And that goes true for everything that I do. All of my work is that way. And that's where the peace is. It's opposite of what you think. Can you see how funny that is? There's nothing to do at all but float. Just float. Float towards the peace. Maintain your integrity. So if you got things that you've obligated yourself to do, you got to fulfill those obligations. But learn the lesson of what an obligation is. Learn the value of peace. And don't take peace for granted. That's the lesson. All right. That's all I have to say. It's been a minute. So good to see everybody on here. Hi, Debbie Deb. Debbie Deb says, Ford, I'd rather have peace of mind than to be right. That's 100% true. That's totally right. By the way, if you have any questions or you want me to say anything, just put it in all capital letters and I'll talk about it in here. Thank you for everybody coming. Boy, we got a beautiful crowd in here. A whole bunch of people. 40-something people. It's awesome. It's cool. That's cool. All right. And this is the part where you normally click off the video. Don't, because a lot of times the questions are the best part. So let's see what we have in. Any questions? Now's your chance. Going here. Akasha Deep Ghosh says, how did you awaken? Sudden or through meditation? A little bit of both. Suddenly it happened. I've been awakening for what appears to be a long time. Let's put it that way, because there's only this moment, right? This is it. Now in the dream, I can create the thought of the person who was awakening. And I could tell you that was a very, very long process. I was a devout atheist. I would call myself a recovering Catholic. And from that state of doubt, it was a long path to get here. And it came through science mostly. And through science, I was able to deduce that science was not telling us the whole story. And that is the essence of what the first book was called, which was called Becoming God. And it was my awakening from complete ignorance and an atheist perspective into gnosis. And then after that experience, that book brought me into all kinds of, totally changed my journey into a different place where I was meeting a lot of spiritual people. And I met some people who were psychonauts, and they introduced me to becoming a psychonaut. And then there were hundreds and hundreds of psychedelic journeys that reinforced what I was already seeing without the drugs. And the drugs were taking me to a whole other level and it was allowing me to see how really deep it is. But the problem with the drugs is you come back down, right? And what I was looking for was a way to sustain that feeling, that sustain that understanding of the dream. And the only thing that brought me to that was meditation and Zen and working on myself. Going for walks, grounding, hugging a tree, changing my attitude about things, being grateful. After doing those disciplines, apparently is when the dream started to reflect the entire gnosis and become a beautiful and amazing thing. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Debbie Deb says, forward learning how to stop thinking so much and letting the mind run riot with all its judgment and just be. That's right. Just notice it. It's okay to be judgmental in your mind. It's totally fine. You know, just go, oh, wow, there's some judgment going on there. And laugh at yourself. Laugh at all of the silliness. Don't take life too serious. Okay, hold on. Okay, anybody else? Whatever I feel like sharing. Oh. See, you're putting the burden back on me. Okay, hang on. That's right. Anyone else? Boy, there's so many comments. Jeez. Oh no, you can't see me? Did something go off? Okay, there we go. We got it working now. Okay, I'm almost to the end here. Okay, no more questions. That's all right. That's all right. Where's Atlas? Atlas is, well, see, it's 39 degrees outside, and Atlas is a snow dog. So he likes to lay on the front porch on that cold cement and be out there. I can hardly get him to come in the house. It's too hot for him. So that's where he is tonight. He's alive and kicking, loving life. So great to see everybody here. Susie, Gigi, Debbie. Gosh, so many wonderful people. Christy, good to see you again. Solar Magic. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You're reading Eckhart Tolle, Debbie Deb? Yes, he's an amazing teacher. He really is. All right, that's it. Signing off from the Matrix. Go back into your dreams. I'm going to be in the chat room over on Phi Tribe in about an hour. We're releasing another song over there, another sleep song. So I'll be in the chat room for a little bit. So if you have any questions and think of them, come over to Phi Tribe, and I'll be able to answer them for you. It's so good to see everybody tonight. Thank you very much for showing up. I love you guys. I'll be back very soon. And please, in the comments, I read every single comment. Drop me a question. So it will help me think about what I'm going to do next time. So the sooner I have an idea of what to talk about, I'll come on here. But I don't want to force it, you know? So awesome. I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys so soon. Take care. Bye.